Chris, great to have you back on the show. I mean, we were talking about sanctions and all of this geopolitical strife in Eastern Europe and Russia right now. Does it potentially create a tailwind for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are not linked so directly to the currencies of the world's major countries?
Yeah, I think it does, and that's one of the core theses behind Bitcoin's adoption. Is in times of like heightened political uncertainty and geopolitical uncertainty, people are looking for ways to reduce their risks associated with centralized governments, and crypto assets offer them that exact opportunity. I frankly don't think it's a coincidence that last week the Ukrainian parliament introduced legislation that would formalize the laws around crypto assets in the country and lead to a kind of a path towards adoption there that didn't exist previously. So as the dust settles, while we're seeing some sell-offs in the assets due to this high correlation with equities and uncertainty, I think there will be a stronger base for crypto assets and an increased adoption as an alternative to centralized fiat.
And yet we continue, to your point, we continue to see this risk-on mentality where the trading of cryptos is concerned. So what would it actually take to see that type of shift in the midst of what many are calling now a crypto winter?
It's a great question. And it's one that we debate constantly. I think in order to really answer that question, we need to understand where the activity is coming from these days. In particular, what we're seeing is short-term holders of these assets really ramped up their activity in Q4 of last year, right before the sell-off into the January happened. And I think during these periods of heightened uncertainty, those short-term holders are exiting. But when you look at the long-term holders, the holdings of those wallets have stayed steady through Q4 and Q1 of this year. So I think what we're really looking for is either some certainty out of the Russia-Ukraine situation, which I think is unlikely, or some amount of reduction in that short-term holder activity, and a return to the long-term accumulation that we think is going to start sooner rather than later.
So are we in a crypto winter?
It's pretty cold outside, but I don't know if we're quite in a crypto winter yet. Vitalik, founder of ETH, made a statement recently during an interview that what the most fascinating thing about crypto is that despite the price volatilities, the builders keep building, and I think that's important. The folks that are trying to build the underlying capabilities of crypto assets and introduce their adoption aren't focused on the price today or the price tomorrow. What they're focused on is introducing transformative technologies. And folks like the team over at Ethereum and other projects are all focused on taking this time when potentially some of the froth in the industry is diminished to really work on delivering what their ultimate projects are focused on delivering. And we're doing the same thing. While we have the trading business here, we're also really focused about how we can introduce those new innovations to the industry as well. So I think you're going to continue to see firms like ours, as well as the initial developers of these projects, really leaning into the build side of things over the course of the next year.
Interesting. Meantime, regulation continues to be one of the other pillars that we can't not talk about when it comes to this asset class. Expected executive order from President Biden. What do you anticipate with that? Does it actually help, I guess, add a floor to the price of something like Bitcoin?
I think it does. It's anyone's guess if and when the executive order will come out or what will be in it. But the fact of the matter is that the President of the United States is chiming in on the crypto asset discussion. That is a massive step forward for the United States. It is no longer a debate on the floor of Congress. It's no longer a debate in the halls of DRW and Cumberland. It's a debate at the kind of executive level, and that's an important shift. What we're hoping to see is some guidance on stablecoin regulation and maybe CBDCs. We're also hopeful that he'll direct the agencies to look for ways to understand the value of crypto and how to kind of facilitate the adoption while also introducing smart regulations to make sure the industry is safe for everyone. So we're keeping an eye out for that pretty closely.
Chris, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.